Hello and welcome to this online edition of OU Nightly. I'm Taitum Wilson coming to you from Norman, Oklahoma. OU Nightly remains off campus and out of our regular studios due to COVID-19, but we are committed to bringing you this newscast. We begin tonight with the options for when OU students might return to campus. According to a report from the OU Daily, OU interim president Joseph Harris is preparing for 3 different potential scenarios. One scenario has students returning to campus for the fall semester. A second would hold fall classes online only, and a third option would make the entire academic year, fall and spring semesters, online only. Harris says it is too early to determine which options will be exercised. Also discussed in the Faculty Senate meeting yesterday was the possibility of furloughing some OU staff to make up for the budget shortfalls due to the COVID-19 crisis. No decision has been made on that option either. All the uncertainty for the future at OU and elsewhere is due to the continued increase in the number of cases and deaths due to COVID-19 in Oklahoma and across the country. The number of confirmed positive COVID-19 cases in Oklahoma rose to 2,184 today, with 115 new cases from yesterday. The death toll rose by 9, bringing the total number of coronavirus-related deaths in the state to 108. While OU students have adapted to online learning, the study abroad students have had much more change to their semester. Marissa Nuzzo talks with a meteorology student who intended to spend this semester in England.
OU promotes study abroad from the moment students step foot on campus. There are numerous programs that are designed to maximize both education and exploration. Connor Bruce is a junior meteorology major. OU's meteorology program has a strong relationship with the University of Reading in England, and their program is designed for students to study abroad for 1 semester in the spring of their junior year.
I was able to explore Reading, explore London, go to Budapest, go to 3 cities in Italy, and go to Paris.
In early March, travel became a concern due to COVID-19.
When I went to Italy, and the day I left was the second day of Carnival in Venice, and Venice shut down that Saturday. So I left the day before Venice closed.
The semester that was supposed to be the greatest experience of Connor's life quickly turned into a nightmare.
We got word from the University of Oklahoma that they highly recommend we leave. Not requiring we leave, but highly recommending it.
After deciding on his own to come back to the States, he was faced with another tough decision.
My dad has a 4-year-old child, and my 80-year-old grandfather is our next-door neighbor, and he visits the house daily. So I did not really have a place where I could go and ensure my family they would be safe.
Connor came back to his apartment here in Norman in an effort to protect his vulnerable family members. He completed his 14 days in self-quarantine, and he did not ever show symptoms of the virus. He's now left to complete his University of Reading classes online. He's bummed about the opportunities he missed, but thankful for the ones he had, and most of all, thankful for his health. Marissa Nuzzo, OU Nightly.
It is unknown when OU students will again be able to study abroad. The number of COVID-19 cases in Texas continues to climb. As of today, there are more than 14,600 cases, a 5% increase from yesterday, and there are 318 deaths due to COVID-19 in Texas. 2 separate federal appeals courts ruled that abortion services can resume in Texas and Oklahoma. Both states' governors had previously deemed abortions non-essential and issued temporary bans on the procedure during the COVID-19 crisis unless the mother's life was threatened. The decision was met with legal challenges from abortion groups in both states. Across the country, there are now more than 600,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and more than 25,000 deaths. The United States remains the leader in both the number of cases and deaths. Across the world, the number of cases has surpassed 1.9 million, with nearly 126,000 reported deaths, and about 467,000 patients have recovered. Another step in the Democratic nomination for president today, former President Barack Obama endorsed Joe Biden, formally backing his former VP for the first time just a day after Bernie Sanders announced his endorsement. In a nearly 12-minute video, Obama urged all Democrats to rally behind Biden to defeat President Donald Trump this November.
Of course, Democrats may not always agree on every detail of the best way to bring about each and every one of these changes. But we do agree that they're needed. And that only happens if we win this election.
Biden thanked Obama on Twitter, saying he plans to build on the progress they made during their time in the White House.
Hi, I'm Jack Maney coming to you from my apartment in Norman, Oklahoma, and I want to start our Tuesday weather off with a quick update on the tornadoes that happened in the Deep South over the weekend. We saw 45 tornadoes so far confirmed in the damage surveys from Mississippi up to North Carolina. One of those in Mississippi was rated EF4 and 6 more have been rated EF3. So far 33 fatalities have been counted, and we hope and pray that that number does not continue to climb. Closer to home though, we saw a little bit of a weird weather event last night. Snowfall in the middle of April, if you can believe that. Winter made one last stand last night. We saw snow showers moving from western Oklahoma into central. Western Oklahoma saw amounts of up to an inch accumulated on grassy surfaces. Here in central Oklahoma, it was not warm enough for any of that snow to stick anywhere. There's no trace of it right now outside at all. Of course, if it was cold enough outside for it to snow last night, then it is probably still just a little bit chilly out there. Megan Gold has a live look outside at what we're seeing. Megan?
Thanks, Jack. I'm Megan Gold reporting from Edmond, Oklahoma. Last week we saw warm temperatures, but this week we are chilly. That's because a cold front moved through on Sunday and dropped temperatures significantly. Last night we saw a little bit of snow move through the state, only receiving about a dusting here in the metro, and temperatures were hovering right at or above freezing, so a lot of that snow did transition into rain. Looking at past radar, you see those rain showers moving out of the state earlier today. Right now, overcast skies, the sun is trying to peek through just a little bit. We're sitting in the 40s statewide right now, but thankfully not dealing with much wind to make it feel even cooler. Back to you, Jack, for what we can expect for the rest of the week.
Thanks for that, Megan. Our 7-day forecast shows that this is our last cold day for this week. We'll be warming back up into the 60s for Wednesday and Thursday before a slight cool down comes in on Friday with some slight rain chances. That goes away quickly, and we start our warming trend again for the weekend. We'll be back up into the 70s by early next week.
A former OU Sooner is helping out others during this pandemic. Kyler Murray donated $25,000 to the charity Gen Youth to help feed children affected by school closures.
I'm Shannon Ehrhardt, still coming to you from Hinsdale, Illinois, to give you an update on the sports world. With less than 10 days until the draft, there's a lot of hubbub going around. And let me tell you this, if you didn't already know, the draft will be virtual with all 32 teams being connected through video conferencing. As for the picks, the GMs from each team will talk with their key advisors before a final decision is made, where then they will pass it to the league officials through the internet. Now, you may be wondering how the NFL can make sure the draft doesn't get hacked. Well, the security department has been working with Microsoft to grid its team application as much as they can, but this doesn't seem to be a big concern to anyone in the NFL. And there's been some buzz on why the NFL is calling this a draft-a-thon, and the reason is because it'll pay tribute to healthcare workers for 6 different charities. So you know the reruns on ESPN are great and all, but it's clear that everyone's dying to see something new in sports. So April 23rd is going to be a big day for sports fans. And that's not the only news in the NFL. Carolina Panther Christian McCaffrey just became the highest paid running back in the NFL, getting a 4-year extension for $16 million a year. The 23-year-old from Stanford is an all-purpose running back, putting up over 1,000 rushing and receiving yards, plus 19 TDs. Saquon Barkley may be the best in the league, but McCaffrey is right on his heels. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be interesting to see how McCaffrey plays now that Cam Newton is gone. And just this morning, NASCAR racer Kyle Larson was fired by Chip Ganassi Racing after using a racial slur in his Sunday virtual race. Despite the public apology on Monday, Larson was dropped from CGR and other sponsors as well. Larson is suspended from the NASCAR series and will go through sensitivity training before reinstatement. What should have been today is the last day of the Masters, but obviously that's not happening. What did happen last year on April 14th was the end of a dry spell for Tiger Woods. Tiger took home his 5th green jacket after an 11-year slump, winning by just a single stroke. Now let's hope that Tiger and the rest of the men will be able to play in November. Well, that's all I have for today. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Shannon. We leave you tonight on a lighter note. Healthcare workers can't always practice social distancing at work, but they do it when they can.
When we are called to help our friends in need, you can count on me.
Members of the employee choir at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center got together from 30 different locations to sing a rendition of the Bruno Mars song, Count on Me. Each member recorded their own part individually, then mixed and edited it together. They did this to pay tribute to their fellow healthcare workers on the front lines battling the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks for watching this online edition of OU Nightly, produced during the COVID-19 outbreak and brought to you by our team working remotely in Oklahoma, Texas, Illinois, and North Carolina. Follow OU Nightly on social media for daily updates and send us your story ideas. Reporting from Norman, Oklahoma, I'm Taitum Wilson. Good night.